Coldplay are without a doubt one of the biggest bands of the last 20 years, and with the band currently entering what appears to be their 9th album cycle, we thought it was only fair that we take a look back at their previous 8 UK #1 albums and pick our favourites. Welcome back to Stereotypical Ranked for the Stereotypical podcast, and today we're picking our top 5 Coldplay albums. As always, big shout out to Allo Sound for hosting the episode, but without any further ado, let's get into it. Boom, we're live. My name's Liam McGrath. I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Jack O'Neill, the Coldplay expert. Big #1 fan. I think it's interesting because it's kind of like the reverse of the 1975 episode. Yeah. Where you're the stan and I'm just the casual fan.
Oh.
So.
I like that.
What?
Stan and casual fan.
Well, I'm a songwriter, mate. Everything's got a rhyme. So, we're doing top 5. The way we're going to work this, if you haven't seen a Stereotypical Ranked before, is we'll count down from our number 5 pick to number 1, but we'll only talk about a specific album when we've both listed it. And obviously there's 8 albums, so if you say one that isn't on my list, we'll just briefly dive into that a little bit.
Some might not make the cut.
Some might not make the cut. So, do you want to kick it off, Mr. Stan?
So,
what are you going with number 5?
Number 5, I've got the debut. I've gone for Parachutes.
Okay, that's interesting. Parachutes isn't in my top 5. My number 5 is A Head Full of Dreams.
Okay.
So, before we move on, let's talk Parachutes briefly. Yes. Do you want to give us a bit of an insight into why that is your number 5?
So, I've gone with the old rating system that I use,
Oh, where you listen to every song?
Yeah, I've gone for every song in the album, rated it, calculated the scores, did some maths at the end to make it all even, because some albums have got 10 tracks, some have got 16 to make it closer, and then I've gone that way. So, first of all, 10 songs, good length. I think that's maybe the perfect length of an album, 10 songs. Yeah. Anything over might drag on a bit too long.
Okay. See, my beef with this was going to be my number 5, right? But I had a last minute switch up. Just first reactions to what you're saying is, I think it drags for 10 songs. I don't know if it's because it's a bit more down tempo and a bit more melancholy. Yeah. But I think the songs are good, but it just as a full listening experience, I did get a bit bored.
Yeah, I've got that as down to it being top heavy.
Right.
So it starts off with Don't Panic, Shiver, Spies, Bit Shit, Sparks, Yellow, Trouble, and then 4 songs that I've got rated 5 and under. Yeah. So you've got the bangers straight away. Yeah. And then once you've listened to something that good, when it drains off, it slopes. That's why I think it'll feel longer as an album.
Because the last few tracks are 7 minutes, 5 minute long. Yeah.
Tunes. There's no need, is there?
No.
I don't know, first album, I guess you can do what you want, can't you? See what happens. But I've got a class start as well, Don't Panic.
Yeah.
A bit repetitive, but it's a good song. And it's the start of the Coldplay sound.
Yeah. I think, it's definitely obviously the Coldplay sound has evolved a lot since then. But I think that set the tone for sort of the next few albums of this is a base and we're just going to expand from here onwards.
Exactly. Yeah, so I've got it. I give it a 7.
I picture when you're doing all these rating systems, I picture you with a big Einstein-esque chalkboard that goes all around the room.
In reality, I was writing in a Thomas the Tank colouring book, getting all me numbers correct. Parachutes as a song in general, I've got the worst one on the album.
Yeah, it did.
I think it's a shit title song.
Yeah. You think I would have called it Yellow, the album?
No, but you know what I mean? It's a recurring theme. I've got this. If you name, I think, an album name I think is quite important in some regard.
Yeah, for sure.
But I guess it's Parachutes, is an era, it's a vibe. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But for the song to be so shit kind of takes a little bit away from it, I think.
I think it's maybe... I think it's good as an album because it's quite unique. You know what I mean? But it also sounds very of its time.
Sad boy vibes album.
It is.
That's what I'd say.
Yeah.
I've got it's very emotional, and I've got that in the pros column.
Yeah, I'd say it is, and I think lyrically it's quite good. We get across the emotion well. Yeah. It has got that somber tone.
Yeah, it's got a good songwriting structure as well, I think, and obviously it banged in it for the time.
Yeah, #1 album, sold a couple of million, obviously. Big.
Head Full of Dreams. I've got
Well, hang on. Is it, unless it's your number 4?
No, it's 6.
Well, we'll talk about it. Oh, 6.
It didn't make it.
You didn't make it either.
Didn't make it.
All right. Well, that's interesting. Head Full of Dreams wasn't going to be on my list initially. I was going to have Parachutes as number 5. But then I listened to Head Full of Dreams just this morning, like re-listened because I've been going back through them, and I thought I had Head Full of Dreams pinned down as like, I know what this is, I know how I feel about it. But then I listened to it again, and I was sort of like, you know what, I haven't got any like hot takes or anything amazing to say about it, but I just think it's an all-round pretty decent album. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's well produced. I like the sequencing. It runs well. It's got like a good, a consistent aesthetic that runs all throughout the album. I think it's almost like where on its like downsides, I feel like it is just it's not doing anything new. You know what I mean?
I've got it so low because we've just talked about the debut, the first album, and this is one of the most opposite albums from that first one. Yeah. Like, everything is so upbeat, everything's so happy, and it's like pretty poppy. Like, I don't think it sounds like a Coldplay album. Yeah,
I thought you would have liked it for that though, for its like poppiness.
No, because we're going to talk about the progression, you know, from the beginning, because it started so, well, not so low, but in the top 5.
Yeah.
And you know, as they move on, like, I've got the ratings moving on as well with them.
Yeah.
So I just think it's dipped. It dipped to me. Like, I think I've got a key songs feature again that I wrote for the albums, and I've struggled with this one a bit.
Yeah. Like I say, I don't think it's not breaking any boundaries. It's not amazing. I just found it a more enjoyable listen than Parachutes. Yeah. I think maybe Parachutes has got the good songs on Parachutes are maybe better than the good songs on this. In fact, almost definitely.
I'd say definitely. But
Jesus. but like, as a whole, like I say, Parachutes sort of got a bit boring, and I felt like it was dragging on a bit. Whereas this, I think it's only like 11 songs, so it's still quite tight, quite confined.
Yeah.
I do like the pop sound of it, because I like how it's got like, the singles were quite uplifting, quite poppy. Adventure of a Lifetime, Him for the Weekend sort of things. Yep. Title track. But then I like how it's got stuff like Everglow and Up and Up that are a bit more like emotional, a bit more in the feels.
It is, but Up and Up was like, you know, the finale song, like, oh, we're never writing an album again. It's fucking 7 minutes, lad. You don't need to write another album because you've put it in this song, lad.
Yeah.
But the title track's good. It's got a good listen, but like the bridge of the album, you know, like the middle to end section, again, bit dead. I've just got it as meh.
Yeah. What? Do you think that's a sequencing problem or just a songwriting problem?
No, because it ends well. It does end well, but it just gets a bit boring.
Yeah.
But it's mad because, like you said, it's 11 songs, but it's quicker than Parachutes.
Yeah, well, that's because like there's even though like Up and Up's quite long, there is less of like the sort of 5 minute. And because it's more upbeat, I just feel like you don't feel like it's taken as long because it's got more energy to it, which is what I prefer. That's probably why it pipped Parachutes for me.
Just different vibes. I think it's mad because like you're gonna come at it from like an outside point of view. Do you know what I mean? Like slightly like objective. Like you're not like as into them as I am.
Yeah.
Because I'm invested in them, and you know I like them for specific reasons. Think like I don't know, it just loses the Coldplay touch. It was an album where I think they kind of got to do what they want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I didn't think it was going to be in my top 5 at all.
Yeah.
I literally until this morning when I had it on again, and I thought I definitely think I'd sort of underestimated it the first time I'd listened to it a while back. And like I say, it's not like
first listen I had, I was underwhelmed. Because, you know, I was buzzing. It was the second Coldplay tour I went on.
Yeah.
I was excited. But, like, just like after the first listen, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if there's something I will say about it, I think it maybe takes... It's too similar to Milo's Allo in some ways. Obviously, they're both very different albums, but I feel like it just takes the sort of uplifting spirit of the likes of Charlie Brown and Paradise and stuff like that and just plays off that a bit too much, not consciously, but like that it just is the vibe of the album, and we've sort of heard this before, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know, I just think the songs are a bit shit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like even like Adventure of a Lifetime isn't a great song. Like it's a bit boppy, but it's not like a good song. It's not a great song.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I don't think it's the best songwriting. I just found it an enjoyable listen.
Fair enough.
Would you like to move on to number 4?
Well, no, say you're number 4.
My number 4 is Ghost Stories. And your number 4 is?
My number 4 is a Rush of Blood to the Head.
Okay, so we'll move on.
Yeah, we'll come back to
My number
those.
3 is A Rush of Blood to the Head.
My number 3. Well, we'll talk about this first. We'll talk about Rush of the Blood to the Head now. And
Okay.
you've got it at number 3.
Okay.
You know, solid spot, not that much different.
No.
I've got it.
I didn't think this was going to be so high up, but it's only when I, recently in prep for this where I've sort of re-listened to everything. I think it builds really well on what the first album was.
Yep.
It's almost like what we talked about in the 1975 episode,
Yep.
where it sort of takes the good things about the first album and expands upon it. You've still got the sort of emotional, sort of down-tempo moments, the sort of introspective lyricism and stuff, but I think it opens up. See, when you said Parachutes is like the start of the Coldplay sound, I see this as more of the start of the Coldplay sound, because I feel like this took them from just the songwriting, the good songwriting from Parachutes, but opened them up to like be a big sounding band.
Yeah,
like they've got big sounding songs on this.
Like the first one is very mellow in it. Like it's very slow, soft sort of songs.
Yeah.
And like this, like you said, it's a good transition from that previous album.
This turned them into like a stadium band more. Like this set them on that path to become the band that they eventually did become. You know what I mean? But like I say, it builds on sort of the emotional resonance of the first one. Big tunes.
Massive tunes on this one.
Box. Talking In My Place. I'm talking...
The Scientist.
Don't. I will cry.
Big tunes on this album.
Yeah. I also love... Oh, God Put a Smile on My Face.
Yep.
Yeah.
Banging.
Live version that you showed me that a few years ago. Amazing.
Boss.
I would heck up.
Yeah. You know how much I love Politic.
Yes.
And it starts with it. I remember when I first listened to it and I was amazed, because this was like 2011-ish. Do you know what I mean? Like the album's been gone time.
Yeah.
Like I knew this album from The Scientist. Like that's what I think of. But it's such like a harder sounding album.
Yeah.
Than that.
Yeah. It has got like I think it's got a lot of memorable songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas like, even though the songs on Parachutes, for example, are good, you haven't really got as many, like, you've got Yellow.
Yeah.
Whereas this obviously spawned a few more hits, shall we say. But yeah, I think it's quite consistent aesthetically. The sequencing's pretty good, but I feel like it does taper off a bit towards the end.
That's
that
what
was
I've
one of the
got as
problems
well.
I had with it.
Again, 11 songs or more than the previous. Could have done without a few of them towards the end.
Yeah.
That's what's pulled it down when I've been like obviously putting the markings together. Like if they didn't have the 3s and 4s towards the end, like a Whisper, Warning Signs, a banger, that kept it going for me. Don't know if you listen to it. It's quite a slow emotional one again.
Did you pick that as one of your tactical tracks?
It was one of the tactical tracks at one point.
I can't remember. I remember you saying, but I can't remember which one it was. Was it the one that put you in a movie? Was it?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Oh, no, maybe. Or like like when you're looking out of a car and stuff, because that's what I think about now. I can still remember walking past some like blossom trees when the song was playing, and that's like the image I get from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got it at 4, but you've obviously topped it a little bit.
Yeah. I think it. Just to look at the downside slightly, it is still very of its time. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds like 2002. Was that when it came out? It sort of sounds like early 2000s. It's not as timeless as maybe some of the later stuff, I think. But yeah, all around great album, great second record, good transition.
So my number 3 is Milo Xyloto.
Okay, right. My number 2 is Viva La Vida.
My number 2 is also Viva La Vida.
Okay, so we agree on something. Would you like to? Yeah,
we've been close so far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the one we've got, obviously in the same spot. So I have got no cons on this album, no cons at all.
Really?
Which, you know, some might question, oh, Jack, why is it number 2 then? Fuck off my list. My opinions, yeah? So 10 songs, throwback to the beginning, perfect size album for me. Yeah. Starts with Life in Technicolor, banging song. And then it goes, bit of a mess song for me, 73 Londons. Lost, banging song, 42 for me. Lovers in Japan, banging song. Yes, meh. Viva La Vida, 4. Get the fucking lights on, boys. It's time. Violet Hill, whoo! Time again. Strawberry Swing. I'm not making a noise to that one.
It's the ones in between when you were going, meh, that's why it isn't my number one.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, as an album, like it's such a like the listing's been done well. Obviously, like I've just said, it's gone banger, not for me personally, banger. Not for me. Like, I feel like they must have known which songs were going to be like the most popular, like the singles and that.
Yeah, I think it has got some of their biggest bangers on.
Yeah.
Viva La Vida, iconic track. Violet Hill, one of my personal favourites. I really like Yes. I think Yes has got one of the best sounding like strings I've ever heard on any record, which sort of brings me to another thing is like this whole album sounds great.
Yeah.
The production's good, the mixing's good, the engineering's good on a sort of like slightly more niche note, but still it really makes the album for me. I find it an enjoyable listen because I enjoy listening to the elements within it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think the guitars and like sort of like synthy sort of aspects are done incredibly. Really picks up a notch. Like I feel like obviously the guitarist is class in my opinion, but I feel like beforehand like he was just good and like they've just said, oh, we've got a fucking diamond here, let's polish it off a bit, and you can see him shine, especially in that in Lovers in Japan and Lost. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like he blossoms.
Yeah, I think everyone blossoms on this album. Like I think Chris Martin's lyrics are a step. Not only necessarily a step up from what he's done before, but definitely after X and Y.
Yeah,
where
that's
I
what
felt
I'm
like
thinking.
It dipped
right
a bit.
now. Like they had to recover from X and Y now.
Yeah,
X and Y is kind of like they tried to just carry on. You know what I mean? Getting that sort of sound. It might have been a label thing. Do you know what I mean? First one bang, second one's done well. You know, we want this sort of thing. Yeah, and we all know what labels are properly like. And I feel like they've just been like, this is what we kind of want to do. This is obviously the sound we're going. And it's the start of like the sounds from around the world. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like this definitely started the second phase of Coldplay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why it isn't my number one, there's a couple of tracks. I think it's all good, but a couple of tracks that aren't like they don't live up to like Viva La Vida standard. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're all good. I like the experimentation. I like them moving out into new sounds and trying new things. The double song under one title stuff that they do sometimes.
Like the hidden track sort of things.
Yeah, and it annoys me on this album. Like I say, Yes, one of my favourite songs on the album. But then it goes into something else. I don't just put it as I don't want to listen to the second half. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't understand why they do that. But
it's an artistic thing, I guess.
I feel like this really takes the anthemic Coldplay sound to another level.
Takes up a notch in it. Before when you mentioned A Rush of Blood to the Head going to like stadium sounds, I feel like when I picture that album, I'm like, it would an arena would be sound for that album. Do you know what I mean? Stadium, I don't know. Yeah. But an arena, I can see it all like with like the strobes and LEDs and that sort of thing. And I feel like this would kick it up again to that stadium sound.
Yeah, 100%. What always amazes me about Viva La Vida as a song, right? When you think about the elements in it, it's mainly just like strings. Obviously, you've got like a bit of bass and the kick pounding, but like, there's not really any guitar surrounding it. There's no piano. There's nothing like. It's just a load of vocal, a load of strings, and a load of like pounding, kicking a big bell. Sometimes
I love that bell,
but like somehow it manages to be one of their most anthemic songs, but really when you strip it down, it's so bare bones. Yeah. But I don't know how they did. I don't know if it's the big chant or the pounding kick.
It's just sometimes like less is more. We've gone through this all loads of times where like we've been talking about production. It's like, it sounds like it's got a lot of space, but it's working. You know what I mean? Because there's times where like you see some songs and it's just a bit too much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think, because that's what's weird about it as well. Like, they do venture out into new sounds on this album, but it also sounds weirdly stripped back. You know what I mean? I never feel like they're doing too much, which I feel like is a hard balance to strike, but they've nailed it with this.
It's just a good melody in it as well. Like, it's quite repetitive, but like you don't really get bored of it. Yeah. Like the chanting thing, like it carries on for ages, like after the song's finished.
So, and really, I think, selfishly, my number one isn't Viva La Vida. Because maybe you could put Viva La Vida at number one, realistically.
I feel like
it's quite an iconic album, you know what I mean?
I feel like if we was a few years older, I reckon it could easily be number one. Yeah. But because we've had time to listen to like modern Coldplay and like what they've gone into, we can appreciate both sides.
Yeah. So, shall we move on to number one?
Yeah, go on.
Oh, do you want me to? My number one is Milo Xyloto, which was your number 3.
It was my number 3.
So your number 1 is
Ghost Stories,
which was my number 4. Okay, interesting.
That is a wild shout, isn't it?
I honestly would have thought you'd have done it a similar way to what I have done it.
Yeah, I can see that because like I know that you know me very well.
Yeah.
Like Milo Xyloto was like the prime of my Coldplay superfan moments. Do you know what I mean?
So should we talk about Milo Xyloto first? Yeah. Right. So why isn't that your number 1?
Why isn't it my number 1? I feel like for the Coldplay sound that we've talked about, from Parachute to Rush of the Blood to the Head, it's like it's moving too poppy.
Right.
It's losing a bit of what they're known for, and like obviously I don't mind that. Yeah. I like.
Well, I was going to say that's weird for you because I know how much you like a big pop sound.
Definitely, but I also like Coldplay for being Coldplay.
Yeah.
And like this is one of the moments where like I can understand like the hate sort of thing. Like people are always going to hate on something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can get the argument. Do you know what I mean? How they've changed.
Is this when did you get into Coldplay? Out of interest,
Coldplay
like
for
along
me,
the discography.
Believe it or not, SingStar for the PlayStation 3 got me into Coldplay.
Which is what year?
When I'm gonna say like 2008 maybe.
Really?
2008,
okay.
2007.
That's earlier
The Scientist
than I
was
thought.
the first song.
Right. Because part of the reason why I thought you would have put Milo higher is because I thought that was more your vibe, more your entry point.
Yeah, I feel like in terms of me and music in general, this was the album where like I remember speaking to my teachers at the time, my music teacher. I was like, "Will you print me off the sheet music for every teardrop and I can learn it?" So it was the time I was getting into like the basic production sort of performance elements of music in general. But this song, you know, came out at like the golden years of like teenage beginnings and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's got like very good vibes to it. I feel like obviously it's your number 1, so I feel like you're gonna agree with most of the positive points.
Yeah.
I feel like it starts off fucking extremely well. I feel like the track listing is impeccable. I've got to put flawless. Is what I've got.
Well, this is again why I'm so surprised. Flawless.
Yeah, but again, it's got the cons. It's got the cons. Like I said, like it's lost some of the original Coldplay stuff.
Okay, well, since we're talking pros,
yes,
I'm thinking sequencing, great.
Mm-hmm.
Concept, it's a very conceptual album. Strong aesthetic all the way through. I think it's the strongest album aesthetically, even with the sort of visual realm that they moved into. The live shows being a certain way, the music videos being a certain way, a lot of the graffiti, a lot of that sort of.
Yeah, it was the start of like the sort of theming. Do you know what I mean? Like I like with Viva La Vida, like the whole like tour, like it was all like wearing like the clothes and stuff that they've got for the album. That sort of kicked off. This, like you said, is like the most powerful one, definitely so far.
Yeah. Do you know? I mean, do you know what the concept is?
Yeah, the character Milo's out with the comics that came out afterwards. Yeah.
Which I think. I mean, you know, obviously we're talking about albums here, so it depends how much you wanna look into it on a deeper level. I think musically you can sit and listen to it start to finish.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's got the uplifting moments. It's got the down tempo moments. It's got the emotion. It's got the sort of
even the interludes. I think are sonically good. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't mind listening to them.
It feels very much like life. It's very ethereal. You know what I mean? And again, stepped up the lyrics, I think, to another level. And as well, that sort of plays into the concept. But I think the concept is very prevalent now for me. The whole thing of like, it's about like, it's like a utopian society or like a dystopian society where the fucking ruler is like trying to get rid of light and colour and art and music and all this stuff. And it just like, the whole album is so uplifting as a sort of counterpoint to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a fight against that. And I just love that about it. It brings a bit of that into my life when I listen to it.
You feel it, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. And like, that's why, you know, every teardrop, Charlie Brown is one of the best, probably one of my favourite Coldplay songs.
Yeah, I think it's very hard for me now because of the whole discography to pick a favourite Coldplay song. It was Speed of Sound for a long time.
That amazes me. To be fair, I thought you would have put X and Y on this list because I'm not a fan and a lot of people aren't, but like,
yeah, I can.
You speak more highly of it than I think you should.
X and Y?
Yeah.
Lad, it's got Fix You on it, right? It's pulled it out of the fucking depths, that song.
Amazing song, but it doesn't redeem a whole album. If we're talking
I don't know.
listening
I don't know.
experience,
It's a mad song. Like, it's a big song, Liam.
It is a big song.
That's going to live forever, that song.
Speed of Sound, just to go slightly off track, Speed of Sound is just clocks. 0.2 for me.
Yeah.
Like
I can see
it's
that.
the same, like the chord is the thing's the same.
Yeah,
the sounds that they're using are the same. I feel like when we were talking about before about like that pressure to sort of live up to Rush of Blood, that's where things like that play in.
Yeah, Speed of Sound, I don't know. It just like resonates with me.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I feel like The Scientist was like the first song I heard. So I must have jumped in just like as X and Y must have been coming out soon. Because this is what I remember being like the second song I listened to. So this is like before Yellow in my Coldplay career.
That's mad. Just a side note story. Yellow was the first song I ever got taught on guitar, which is maybe one of the reasons why I was going to put Parachutes in this list. But I feel like I can't just...
You're going off sentiment then?
Yeah, I can't just use that to carry a whole album over. And I'll get to sentiment when we talk about Ghost Stories in a minute.
Yeah, just to finish X and Y off, it's 13 songs.
X and Y on Miles out, so...
X and Y is 13 songs. It was the longest one to date when they was bringing them out, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got 3 pros and fucking about 17 cons. Like it wasn't good enough, but it's got gems in there.
Yeah. When you were talking Milo,
yes,
and you were like, it's your number 3.
It's
only my number 3 because there's cons. Do you want to, what?
Like I've said, it's from the...
Is it just because it goes too poppy?
It was the least Coldplay sound so far.
I feel like multiple people had that problem as well.
Yeah, like I can see why people switched off at this point.
Yeah.
But for me at the time, like it is all good. Like it is a very positive album.
Yeah, and to be fair, production-wise, we haven't spoken about it, production-wise, it sounds great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in there that I feel like, knowing you would be into.
Yeah, definitely. And like we're saying about progression as well, from Viva La Vida, like when we're saying we're like lovers in Japan and stuff, is like they're getting that little like, I don't even know what instrument it sort of is, like sort of like xylophone sort of sound, do you know what I mean? Playing with the guitars.
Yeah.
They've took it up a level, they've opened the world of like synths and stuff, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Top notch.
But number 3. Not the toppest of notches.
Not the toppest of notches.
So your number 1...
My number 1
is Ghost Stories, which I had in at number 4. So maybe you want to tell us why that's your number 1.
So, it's only 9 songs, right? The shortest one we've got to date so far. And the first thing I wrote down was unskippable. Not even, for me personally, like, not even, I'm not fast forwarding it. Don't really need to go back a song because I know the next song is going to be good.
Yeah.
The track listing is perfect.
Yeah.
Be like, Sky Full of Stars, second to last.
Interesting choice as well, innit? I feel like
Sky Full of Stars.
Well, to put it on that album, but I get how it makes sense in the running of that album. It sort of being the euphoric end to it, the resolve.
Yeah.
But to put it that far down the track list as well, it being like the big single from that album.
This is mad, right? Because like Midnight was the first single,
right?
And it's the least like constant sounding song on the album. Do you know what I mean? Like nothing else really sounds like Midnight.
Yeah, it's one of the most far out
things that they've done.
Yeah, and especially at that point. You know what I mean? Obviously, they did that weird Kaleidoscope EP that's got some strange stuff on it since
6/4 shit.
But Outcast is in.
I've told everyone. I've counted it in the car, boys. I'm 100%.
No, I agree with you.
Do you agree?
Yeah. Now that it's funny as well because we put the clip out from the last episode of us talking about Outcast being in 22/8.
Yeah.
And in the clip, I'm going, it isn't, lad, it isn't. And then, like, literally, like when I got home from shooting that episode, I listened to it. I was like, oh yeah, no, it probably is.
Yeah, it's class.
Videos of me being wrong all over the internet.
But back to the pros of my number 1 Coldplay album. I put it's very raw.
It is. Like
it had to be done. Like obviously, we know it came at the time where like Chris Martin was breaking up with Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah. Like,
and it's just like. You know when we talk about the mental health one, it's like, the venting sort of stuff. I feel like this was his venting.
Yeah. And as well, what I really admire about this album is the sign of a great band and a great band of friends is that the other 3 sort of surrounded him and was like, we can do this for you because you need to make this. You know what I mean? And both like emotionally and musically. You know what I mean? I feel like they really got the emotional resonance of what
they
Chris
captured
needed
it
to do.
very well. Yeah. Again, like they've progressed with like the electronics of it. Do you know what I mean? They're using like the synthetic drums on this one a lot more.
Yeah. And to stop doing that one.
And this sounds like Coldplay, even though, like I said, it's gone more electronic. Like it's very.
Yeah, I've heard it described as like almost a more refined, more electronic Parachutes in its mood.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
You can see it, can't you?
Yeah.
Like someone's kicked Parachutes fucking up to date, and like you've ended up with this. I get it completely. I've thought maybe it's some of his best writing I've got.
Yeah, it does hit, doesn't it?
Yeah,
in the feels.
Definitely. I've put the only cons I've got is it didn't tour, obviously, because that's what they decided. They did the thing in London where they had like a few people go and watch, and it was like on the TV. I put if it goes forward with like the next tours and stuff, only A Sky Full of Stars is going to be taken off the album.
Yeah. Which,
again, subjectively for me, like, I think they're all good. Like, it's a shame that we wasn't able to see it.
Yeah.
And what I could have done with one more to get to the 10. That's like the cons, but like the cons that like can only improve it, can only lift it up.
Yeah. I think this might mean the most to me as an album out of all the Coldplay albums. Weirdly enough, when I was first thinking about this episode, this was going to be my number one.
Yeah.
But it was only upon re-listen that I think, as an album, it runs great. Like you say, the sort of the tone of it is really nice. It's a good listen. But I just think the individual songs, there's stronger songs. You know what I mean? It works really well.
On other albums?
Yeah, it works really well as an album. But if you compare, like, True Love to sort of, some of the bigger songs off Milo or Viva La Vida, it doesn't hold up. And maybe that's just because it's a very different kind of song.
Yeah.
They're not trying to be as big and as much of a hit. But I think some of the other albums, Milo, Viva, have the stronger songs that sort of pull them along a bit. Whereas this only has like one big song, and even though this runs really well as an album,
Sky for the Stars being big.
Yeah,
I know, but it's not the album though. You got like you say, conceptually, like
it was really tough as well because there's so many parameters on which you can judge.
Yeah,
and I sort of had to judge it in the same way that I was judging the other albums, and less about like I really like it. This and Milo's Eyes are my favourite.
Yeah.
But my favourite and the one that I think is necessarily the best aren't the same thing.
Yeah. Like, I would say this would be close to me. Like, Milo might be my favourite. Maybe like a Rush of Blood second favourite. But this, I think, is the best.
Yeah.
Like, again, like you're saying before, True Love I've got as rated the lowest, but it's a 7. Do you know what I mean? Compared to other albums which I've got like a 3 or a 4 on, again, in my opinion, like.
Yeah.
So I disagree with what you're saying. Like, if True Love was on another album, it would have fit better than like a 42 on Viva, for my opinion. Like, it does hold up.
That's interesting. Yeah. But do you think that's just because you've heard it in the context of the album, though?
Well, yeah, but I also think they're also good songs.
Yeah, they are good songs. I don't think there's a song on it that I don't like.
Like, that's what I mean. Midnight is like probably the song that is like the least best song. It sounds good, but as like songwriting goes and that sort of shit, doesn't really live up to the rest of them.
I like Midnight.
But again, it fits perfectly.
Yeah.
In.
And there's something that can be said as well for it being such a refined album. Like you're saying, only 9 tracks. There's no filler.
40 minutes.
It's really, yeah. I thought it would have been a bit shorter, being 9 tracks. But there's nothing like, there's no filler. There's nothing to detract from the thing.
Yeah.
They're not trying to do anything other than this one very specific thing that the album's about. You know what I mean? It's got that theme.
I think this is what people should do with albums. Or like, I obviously don't know much about like making albums and stuff, but like, again, if you've got 14 songs, but 6 of them you think, like you're saying, a filler, they're all right. Like, even like if you don't, unless you think everyone is fucking sick.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose that's the thing, though. You get quite close to it. It's hard to have that level of objectivity if you're the one making it. But I get what you mean. There have been albums where, like, you know, like 16 track albums where I'm like, you could have got rid of at least 3 of these and it still would have worked.
Yeah.
You know, like we talked in the last one about, like, no, it's not a conditional form. I'm in 20 songs. And it's like, at that point, it's just like a playlist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you've got
playlist
too many
or
in,
piss take, you decide. It's only too much. Like, everyday life being...
There's the title of the episode.
Playlist or piss take,
you decide.
Like, everyday life, right? Double album, 16 tracks.
Yeah.
There's no need.
Yeah, I didn't even... To be honest, I listened to it when it came out, and I haven't been back since.
Yeah.
That's why I texted you the other day, being like, is it going to be in your top 5? Because it's not, I'm not going to go back and listen to it all.
No, I think I've got it last, just because
same.
It isn't me. Some of the songs are good, like, it's very, like, you know, the sounds are very from, like, other countries and stuff, which is good.
I can appreciate what they're doing with it. You know what I mean?
Like, the title track, I think, is very good, and that gets in my head, like, a lot of the time, just in general. But that and, like, Arabesque are maybe 2 that I'd take off it. Like, as, like, oh, I like these songs. The rest, I didn't really find anything in it for me.
Yeah. That was like me with X and Y.
Yeah.
So, to draw to a close...
In summation.
Let's do a quick best song off each album. Just a quick run through. I told you we're doing this. You should know.
Okay, right. So, are you going to... Hang on. Shit.
So, what was yours? I can't remember. Parachutes, best song.
Parachutes, Yellow.
I'm gonna go with Yellow. You can't knock, can you?
Yeah, foot out and off.
Rush of Blood to the Head.
The Scientist.
I can't listen to it because it makes me cry, but probably The Scientist is the best.
Sad boy vibes.
X and Y.
Fix You,
of course.
Which is, you know, debatable because I've talked about Speed of Sound a lot.
Yes.
Boom, gone.
Viva La Vida. Lost for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even got it in the key song section.
But Lost or Yes?
Really? Then Viva La Vida?
Not Yes, because it's got that stupid second half on. Yeah, Lost.
For me, I'm going to go...
Anthem.
I'm going to have to go for Viva La Vida.
Can we sample that?
I'm going to have to go for the title track. And Violet Hill comes a close second.
Maybe Violet. I don't know. I can't do this. What's next? Milo's Island Song.
Charlie Brown.
Or maybe can't remember what it's called. Move on.
Yeah. Next.
Ghost Stories. Another's Arms.
Another's Arms. I might have to go for as well. Or Magic. One of them 2.
I like Ink, but
I'll go Magic. Big on. Next.
Litter in the studio. What's next?
A Head Full of Dreams.
A Head Full of Dreams. Maybe the title track?
Not for me, bro.
Or Everglow.
I'm going to go for Everglow as well, yeah. Him for the Weekend, Overplayed. I was fuming when it was on the radio as Beyonce's new song. I'm going to punch someone about that. And then Everyday Life. If we've not talked about it, I'll say Everyday Life.
Arabesque. Lovely. What do you think of Higher Power?
Higher Power,
the new tune.
Max Martin is the Donny, innit? He's the Donny of all Donnies. Yeah. If you don't know who he is, Google him. He's the Donny of all Donnies.
He's written like every song ever.
Yeah. Was asleep when he wrote Hit Me Baby One More Time.
How did you do that? How does that even work? What are you on about?
Google it.
Okay, well, can you tell the viewers?
He woke up and he's like, Hit Me Baby One More. That was it.
So he wasn't asleep. He just woke up.
He was asleep, obviously, when it happened. Do you know what I mean? Okay. And then he woke up and that was that.
Right. I thought you meant you just laid there with the guitar.
Fuck, he might have done. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's good. I wasn't too sure on it. I did not like it at the beginning. I was just like, yeah, fine. But then it stuck in my head because it's Coldplay and it's Max Martin, and you know that's a recipe for it.
When it came out, like the abrupt start, I wasn't sure of, but now I like. The first chorus, you know, drops back, wasn't sure of, but now I like. The snare is like, you know, the snare that we use all the time. I just like, and it just keeps going throughout. That's all it does. It's mad. Yeah, but it works. Super pop in it. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they could. Did you see them at Radio 1 Big Weekend? They did a new song. Well, they didn't do it. They sort of made a video for Radio 1's Big Weekend of like Chris Martin sat miming it in a chip shop for a new song. It's like very a cappella. Something. I'm waiting to see the Glastonbury performance.
Oh yeah,
because obviously it was live streamed, but there was issues when it was live streamed.
Was it?
Yeah, so the people that paid couldn't get on. It was madness, and then like they had to wait. I don't even know if it's out now, to be honest. And they've got to wait until everyone gets it free. It's gonna be madness.
Right.
But you know, hard times, happens, done it.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's a new single somewhere down the line. I think it's mad that he's producing the album.
Max Martin.
Yeah,
He's doing the whole album.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, that's interesting.
Because have you seen the interview with Zane Lowe?
Yes.
For the new one?
Yes, a while ago.
And they're talking about like how like, you know, the bands with like Max Martin, like Chris isn't there and stuff, and like they're saying how good it's going.
Yeah, they've done that. They do that quite a bit these days, don't they? They just split up and like ever since Viva, when they got Brian Eno in, he's just said like let them do some stuff. And
this is what I like also about Ghost Stories being mine on one album, because like I said, I like this band a lot, so I know like quite, you know, a bit of the background shit. But like Magic off Ghost Stories started obviously with the bass line, but it was like the bass player guy started that, and like Chris has always said in interviews stuff like he'd go up to him and ask him like, you know, have you got anything that we can go with, rather than, you know,
him just writing everything all the time,
pretty much
coming in with fully formed
and
songs.
Like they gave him that. I think him, a guy and Will were working on it, and then he went away and he wrote the song, and he was like, fuck, you know what I mean, obviously good song.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to come.
I'm excited, but I'm also unsure, like I said, because it's good. I don't know if it's all going to be super pop.
Yeah, I think it will be in that more poppy vein. But, you know, there still might... Well, this is the thing, that if you listen to the other one, I'll try and find it and send it to you, the other one that you did at Big Weekend, it's like completely a cappella. It's just like a layered, stacked vocal, sort of choral harmony thing, which is very unlike anything they've done before. So I'm interested to see...
You say that, but on Everyday Life, there was a few, like, barbershop quartet sounding songs.
No, but, like, it's different to that. It's, like... It's almost like that, but, like, electronic as well, you know what I mean? It sounds, like, a bit vocoder-ish at times, like, a bit... I don't know. It sounds like Jacob Collier's helped, which Jacob Collier is on the album at some point.
That's going to be mad. Jacob Collier's a mad dude.
He is a crazy dude. But, yeah, that's it for this episode. No doubt we will talk about the new album at some point when it comes out. So subscribe.
Please!
Yeah, that brings us to the end of this episode of Stereotypical Ranked. Thank you for watching. If you are or listening, if you're on Spotify or Apple, if you're on Spotify or Apple, do subscribe. Or what do you do on Spotify? Do you follow? Do you subscribe?
Yeah, follow.
I'm not a Spotify user. And if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and check out our other videos. All the links are down below to follow us on all of our social media if you are watching this on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.